Lesson 2.2, we're solving three variable systems by elimination. I'm going to give you just a recap of what we did last time to help get your brain on track for solving three variables. So last time, this is example 1. Last time we just had two equations and we were solving by elimination. So it would have been, an example is 4x minus 2y equals 7. And the other equation would be x plus 2y equals 3. And remember, with elimination, our job is to eliminate one of the variables. And what we're going to try to do is add these two equations together. And it would be great if one of the variables would eliminate automatically. So if we were to add these two equations together, you'll notice that the two y's would eliminate automatically because one is negative and one is positive. That leaves me with nothing. Negative 2y plus 2 is 0. So I get 4x and x is 5x, which equals 7 plus 3, which gives me 10. Dividing both sides by 5, x equals 2. So I've already found one of my variables. Once you've found one of your variables, you can plug back into either of the original equations. It doesn't matter which one. I like to choose the one that seems easier to me. In this case, x is already by itself. I'm going to go with that one. So x, I'm going to put in a 2 plus 2y equals 3. And now I can solve for y, so I'll subtract my 2 from both sides. The 2's cancel, and I get 2y equals 3 minus 2, which is 1. Dividing both sides by 2. Again, the 2's cancel, and y equals 1 divided by 2, or 1/2. Remember that we always write our answers in an ordered triple or ordered pair. Since we only have two variables here, the answer is going to be written in an ordered pair form. It's always x first and then y. This is your final answer for this problem. Okay, I'm going to give you another example. This is example 2. Again, it's just a two variable system like we did a few lessons back. 2x minus 3y equals 6. And the second equation I'm going to give you is x plus y equals negative 12. So again, with elimination, our goal is to add these two together and hopefully eliminate one of the variables. If you'll notice with this equation, nothing eliminates automatically. We're going to have to do some multiplying to make it eliminate. And the next thing I look for is if nothing eliminates automatically, I'm looking for a variable that has opposite signs. For example, both of these x's are both positive. That's not going to help me. The y's, one of them's negative and one of them's positive. This does help a little bit, which is going to tell me that I want to multiply the y to eliminate y's. Again, you do not have to do it this way. You can eliminate the x's if you want. It's just really whatever you see. So I'm going to take this entire equation and I'm going to multiply it by positive 3. So I get 3 times x, which is 3x, 3 times y, which gives me positive 3y, 3 times negative 12. My mental math is terrible. You'll learn that. Negative 12 times 3 gives me negative 36. And I'm going to take this guy and just rewrite it down here so that I can see it a little more clearly. 2x minus 3y equals 6. So we'll add these two things together. Notice now my y's cancel, which is what I was wanting. That was the whole point of multiplying the equation by 3. 3 and 2 gives me 5x. Negative 36 plus 6 is negative 30. Dividing both sides by 5. 5's cancel. X equals negative 6. Now that I know one of these, I can plug it back into either the remaining equations to solve for the last variable. Again, it does not matter which equation you use. I don't know. This looks like the easier one, so that's the one I'm going to go with. So we have x, oh, I'm just kidding. I know what x is. -6 plus y equals -12. I'll add 6 to both sides. 6's cancel. Y equals -12 plus 6 is -6 again. Again, writing your answer in the proper form. Final answer, -6, -6. Okay, hopefully you have this glue-in that is similar to the substitution glue-in. These are just steps to help you with the elimination. So what we just did was just a recap using 2 systems and 2 variables. Today we're going to be doing 3 system variable equations using elimination. So we always know that the first step is pick which variable you want to eliminate. Obviously, if one eliminates automatically, go with that. We'll glue this in at the end, but for right now, keep it loose so we can carry it with us. On your first page, leave a blank space right here so that we can glue it in a little bit. Okay, so that was last time, and this is this time. Example 3. Okay, I have 4x plus 2y plus 3z equals 12. 16x plus 5z equals -6. And lastly, 6x minus y plus 4z equals -3. You guys, I just changed my mind. I'm going to come back to this one. I've got a better one that I want to show you first. So scoot down to like halfway through your page and give me example 4. We're going to work this one first. 8x minus 6y plus 2z equals -20. -3x plus 6y minus 15z equals 51. And lastly, 2x plus y plus 3z equals 0. One thing I like to do, sometimes it helps, is to label your equations 1, 2, and 3 so that you don't get confused. Well, it helps to not get confused. So step 1, pick which variable you want to eliminate first. So we want to look at any 2 equations, it doesn't matter which 2, and see if any variable will eliminate automatically. Hopefully you see that with equation 1 and 2, we have -6y and +6y. So if we start with these 2 equations, we can automatically eliminate the y's. That's going to be your step 1. So we want to use equation 1 and equation 2. So I have 8x minus 6y plus 2z equals -20. And the other one is -3x plus 6y minus 15z equals 51. Now the steps are the same. We're wanting to eliminate that, so we're going to add these guys together. And when we add them together, the y's cancel, which is what we wanted. So 8 minus 3 gives me 5x. The y's canceled. 2 minus 15 gives me -13z. 20 plus 51 is 31. Okay. Remember your NE's from the substitution. This is one of your new equations. Hold on to that. We will need to come back to it. Okay, we used equation 1 and 2, and we eliminated y. We have to use the last equation at some point. So we're going to do the same thing, but we have to use the last equation. So make sure, let's go ahead and write that down. We have to use 3. So we have 2x plus y plus 3z equals 0. And what we're going to try to do is we have to eliminate y again. So we chose y the first time. We have to choose to eliminate y again. It does not matter which of the two of the other equations that you use, but here is something that I always look at. Remember, if the y is positive here and we have a choice, it would be nice if the other y was negative. That would save us a little bit of a step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first equation with it. So I'm using equation 3 and 1. So I have 8x minus 6y plus 2z equals 0. Now, the y's don't currently cancel, so I'm going to have to do some multiplying to make that happen. I need this to say 6y for it to cancel. So I'm going to multiply the entire equation by 6. 6 times 2 gives me 12x. 6 times y gives me 6y. 6 times 3 gives me 18z. And that equals, uh-oh, I think I wrote the wrong thing. This is supposed to be negative 20. 6 times 0 is 0. There we go. Okay, so once I've done my multiplying, I can add these guys together, and my y's will cancel. So we've got negative 6y and positive 6y. Those go away. 8 and 12 give me 20x. 2 and 18, that gives me 20z. Negative 20 and 0 is negative 20. We've got x and z, and it's in standard form. X and z in standard form. This is your next NE. Once you have your two new equations, you automatically have your new system, just like with substitution. So now I've got two equations with two variables. At this point, I had you write down your new equations. So we've got 5x minus 13z equals 31, and 20x plus 20z equals negative 20. Write them down and disregard everything we've done here for now. So I'm just going to try to cover part of that up, but I need to be able to see the new system. So now we've got two equations, and we've got to figure out which variable we should eliminate. 5 and 20 do have a common factor. 13 and 20 don't, meaning I can't multiply 13 by anything to get 20. So again, we're trying to eliminate one of these variables, and it looks like x is going to be the easier of the two, because I can multiply this entire equation by, let's see, this is positive 20. I need this to say negative 20, which means I'll have to multiply by negative 4. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20x. Negative 4 times negative 13 is positive 52z. Negative 4 times 31 gives me negative 124. Add these two together. 20x minus 20x cancels. 20 and 52 gives me 72z. Negative 20 and negative 124 gives me negative 144. I have one variable. I can solve for it. If we divide both sides by 72, z equals negative 2. So remember, just like with substitution, once you've found one of your variables, it's pretty easy to get back and find the other ones. So if I've got z, I can plug it into either one of these two equations to find x. It doesn't matter which one that you use. Let's see, let's go with the 20s. So we'll do 20x, which I don't know, plus 20 times z, which I just said was -2, and that equals -20. Plugging that in, I get 20x, 20 times -2 is -40, which equals -20. If I add 40 to both sides, I get 20x equals 20. Dividing both sides by 20, x equals 1. So now I have z and I have x, which is what we had in our original, in our new system. I have to go back and find y. So remember, that means I'm going to have to go back to one of the very, very first equations where there actually is a y. We always want to choose the one that makes our life the easiest. If you look at the last equation, y is already by itself. That means it's going to make it a lot easier for me to find. So I'm going to plug in my x and my z. So I have 2 times x, which is 1, plus y, plus 3 times z, which is -2, and that all equals 0. Cleaning this up a little bit, I get 2 plus y, 3 times -2 is -6, which equals 0. 2 and -6 is -4. If I move my -4 to the right side of the equation, it becomes positive. Y equals +4. If you need to work that out, please do so that you can see that. Remembering final answers are always written in ordered triple form. Final answer, 1, 4, -2. Okay, moving back up to the other problem that we were working on. Well, that I said I wanted to save for later. Let's work this one together. First step is to pick which variable you want to eliminate first. So the first thing we want to do is look and see if any of the variables automatically eliminate. My x's don't. Doesn't look like the y's will, or the z's. So none of the equations are going to eliminate. Let's see what other route we can take. If we, let's see what we can make. So this y is by itself. That means it'll be easy to multiply. Also notice that the top equation, our y is positive. In the bottom equation, it's negative. These two are going to be pretty easy to eliminate. Why don't we choose these? So let's go ahead and put your numbers out there. We're going to use equation 1 and 3. So here is equation 1, 4x plus 2y plus 3z equals 12. And then equation 3, we've got 6x minus y plus 4z equals -3. Oh, sorry. So this is equation 3. You don't have to choose these two equations. These are the ones that I chose because my y is positive and this one's negative. Yes, I am going to have to do some multiplying, but at least I don't have to worry about that. So in order to get these things to cancel, I'm going to need this bottom equation to say -2, and currently it says -1. That means I'll need to multiply the whole equation by 2. 2 times 6x gives me 12x. 2 times -y gives me -2y. 2 times 4 gives me +8z. 2 times -3 gives me -6. I'm just going to take this and rewrite it down here so that we can add them together easily. 4x plus 2y plus 3z equals 12. We're going to add these guys together. -2y plus 2y, those cancel. 12 and 4 give me 16x. 8 plus 3 gives me 11z. negative 6 and 12, positive 6. Okay, we've got it in standard form, and I have it down to 2 variables. This is a new equation. Hold on to it for later. So we used 1 and 3 this time. Remember, we have to use all of them at some point. That means equation 2 has got to be used this time. Why don't you go ahead and write that down. 16x plus 5z equals negative 6. We have to use that. The other thing we have to do is we had already chosen to eliminate y. So if we can, y has already been eliminated in this example. So we can choose, this one's tricky. Y's already been eliminated here. So look at this. I've got an equation with 2 variables in the same 2 variables here. This is one of your new equations. You can use these 2 as your new system. So I'm going to take this guy and bring him down here. 16x. When we look at these, I want you to notice the x's. They're both positive, but if I multiply one of the equations by a negative, then they will be canceled. So why don't we multiply our new equation by a negative? So this will make it negative 16 minus 11z equals negative 6. Okay, so I had a new equation with x and z, and my middle equation also has x and z. So I kind of it was kind of an advantage. I didn't have to do any more multiplying. I do want the x's to eliminate here, so I multiplied it by negative 1. The 16's cancel. 5 minus 11 gives me negative 6, z. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12. Notice I have one variable. Hallelujah. We'll divide both sides by negative 6. The negative 6's cancel, and z equals negative 12 divided by negative 6 is positive 2. Z equals positive 2. Yay. This guy, go one step up. You can plug him into either of these equations to find x. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go with our new equation, but it doesn't matter. 16x plus 11 times z, which I know is 2, equals 6. Do a little cleaning up. I get 16x, 11, and 2 gives me 22, which equals 6. Subtract that 22 from both sides, and I get 16x equals negative 22 plus 6 is negative 16. Dividing both sides by 16, x equals negative 1. Okay, lastly, I have z and x. I gotta find y. I can plug these two into either of the original equations, any of them, but it has to have y in it. This guy looks like the lesser of the evil because y is already by itself. So I'm going to plug into equation 3. 6 times x, which is negative 1, minus y, which I don't know, plus 4 times z, which is 2, equals negative 3. Clean up. This is negative 6 minus y. 4 times 2 gives me 8, which equals negative 3. Cleaning up some more, these are like terms. Negative 6 plus 8, that gives me negative y plus 2, which equals negative 3. Move my my 2 to the other side. That will make him negative, so I'll subtract 2. I get negative y equals negative 5. Now remember the trick, if your variable comes out negative, we can't have that. Change everyone's sign and you'll be golden. Y equals 5. Final answers must be written in ordered triple form. -1, 5, 2. All right. That one was a little different than the first one we did. A recap, we have to choose two equations to do some eliminating with. I chose equation 1 and equation 3 simply because y was by itself and one y was positive, one y was negative. That's already setting me up for elimination. So when I rewrote them over here, in order to get them to eliminate, I had to multiply equation 3 by 2 because 2 times -y would make this -2y and allow them to cancel. When I added these two things together, I got an equation that only had x and z in it. I should have noticed before, but if you noticed with equation 2, the variable y was already eliminated, so it would have benefited me to eliminate y again. I was able to use my new equation with equation 2 to eliminate another variable. I eliminated x and we solved for z. Once you find one variable, you can pretty easily find the rest. If you have any questions on this, go back and review it with me as I talk through it. I'm going to give you one more I want you to try on your own. This will be example 4. Just kidding, example 5. X minus 2y plus z equals 11, -11. 3x plus 2y minus z equals 7. And -x plus 2y plus 4z equals -9. Okay, so remember, let's go ahead and number your equations, 1, 2, and 3. It'll help you to keep everything straight. You want to pick a variable to eliminate. Go ahead and look and see if there's anything that eliminates automatically. If more than one thing eliminates automatically, that's great. That leaves you with one variable. Pay attention to those things. I want you to try this one on your own and come back and see if you got it correct. All right, with step 1, we want to look at these equations and see if anything automatically eliminates. The first thing that I see is the -2y and the +2y. Those eliminate. With equation 1 and 3, the same thing. Also, though, with equation 1 and 3, the x's would eliminate and so would the y's. So if two variables eliminate, that leaves me with only one variable left, and I can solve for one variable. I'm going to choose those equations first, 1 and 3. So I have x minus 2y plus z equals -11, and -x plus 2y plus 4z equals -9. Again, with elimination, we always add these guys together. Your x's cancel, and so do your y's. Z and 4z gives me 5z. -11 minus 9 gives me -20. Divide both sides by 5. 5's cancel. Z equals -4. Yay! Okay, so I do have one variable here that I could have solved for. Yay, I'm happy about that. Now we have not used equation 2, which means we have to use that one now. So I've got 3x plus 2y minus z equals 7. So the only thing is I eliminated x and y, so that's what I need to try to eliminate again. Let's look at what our possibilities are. If I use equation 1 and 2, the z's will cancel. So will the y's. Again, that's a win on my part because then all I have left is the x's. I'm going to use equation 1 as well. I have x minus 2y plus z equals -11. Adding these together, My z's cancel, so do my y's. 3 and 1 gives me 4x. Negative 11 plus 7 is negative 4. Dividing both sides by 4, x equals negative 1. Now I have x and z. The only thing left I have to find is y. You can find the last variable by plugging into any one of the original equations. It doesn't matter which one. All of these are 2y, so there really isn't a lesser of the evil here. I'm going to go with the top equation just because it's first. So in the place of x, I've got negative 1 minus 2y, which I don't know, plus z, which is negative 4. And that equals negative 11. Cleaning up, negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5, minus 2y equals negative 11. Moving my 5 to the other side, I get negative 2y equals negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 6 divided by negative 2, positive 3. Final answer, negative 1, 3, negative 4. All right, this concludes the lesson for elimination with 3 variables. Any questions, confusion, please go back, pause the video, listen to me again, make sure you get it, ask for help if you don't.